Hi everyone.
Hello, my name is Renz.
Hi, my name is Manabu Takatani, Program Administrator.
Hello everyone, my name is Denny Putra and I'm originally from Indonesia. Currently I am the graduate assistant at the Purdue ARC.
For this art challenge, we were asked to share an object that is meaningful to us and has something to do with our identity.
My object is a picture of myself when I graduated from kindergarten. I picked this up during my first return visit to the Philippines and from my family's ancestral home, and it's been in my hands ever since. I chose this object specifically because it reminds me of my journey through life and my family in the Philippines. It's very humbling to remember how my life was in the Philippines and the US, and even though I only have my immediate family around me, I know my relatives around the world are cheering me on. Hope you enjoyed hearing this small tidbit about my life.
For the purpose of this challenge, I'm sharing this pin, which is from the 7th America-Japan Student Conference held in the year 1940. While this pin is not a family heirloom, it is very meaningful to me for several reasons. The Japan-America Student Conference, also known as JASC, was developed in the 1930s by university students in Japan concerned about the deteriorating bilateral relationship between the two countries. The goal of the program was to invite university students from the US to visit Japan for a tour of the country and have conversations about different areas of society and talk about cross-cultural differences. While the program did not succeed in terms of avoiding World War II, the program helped develop friendship among peoples of the two nations. The program went from 1934 until the 7th Conference of 1940, which was where this pin comes from. I also have other items from the Japan-American Student Conference as well, such as this booklet from the 1937 conference, and this one from the 1948 conference, among other items as well. I had the pleasure of participating in the 2012 64th Japan-America Student Conference. That conference was very meaningful to me, as it was the first experience I had to develop friendships between myself and students from Japan and Japanese Americans as well. Ultimately, that program had an impact in terms of how I view my experiences at the university and had a role in shaping my career trajectory today. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share about the Japan America Student Conference, and best of luck to the current delegates of JASC.
For this week's art challenge, my object is Oinky. He is a stuffed pig that I've had since I was around 3 years old, so he's been in my life for about 20 years now. I take him with me basically anywhere I go. He came with me to study abroad in undergrad, and also, well, he came with me to undergrad in general. He just kind of serves as a small reminder of my family wherever I go.
This week I chose my playbill. I got this last summer when I went to New York with my friend, and the reason that this is so important to me is because I've always wanted to kind of be in the performing arts. I've always had a love for the performing arts ever since I was young, and this was my very first Broadway show. Broadway to me was always like, wow, I made it, you know. And going into the area, I remember feeling it was kind of like a bittersweet feeling because I pursued electrical engineering as opposed to pursuing the musical theater. But when I was in there, it was great. I cried a lot. Wicked was a great first show for me, and I only hope to continue to go to many more shows in the future.
And something that I just comes immediately to my mind is this. It's called ketchup manis, or is it a sweet soy sauce? You see here? So the sweet soy sauce is I think it's kind of a must-have condiments in all the Indonesian household, and it's also available in all the restaurants or cafe or in any household and at home. So why I choose this? I think historically I'm not quite sure like how the ketchup manis or the sweet soy sauce came to Indonesia, or how it was has some historical story behind it, but I know that kecap manis is very, again, like very popular in Indonesia. It's like we have to have it, you know, as part of our food. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that for me, I think historically it means a lot to me because I grew up with these condiments all my life, and then even today I'm still using it. So the sweet soy sauce is used in all the things that I eat. Like they make fried rice very delicious. They make fried noodles. You can use also sweet soy sauce for grilling chicken, and make, if any of you, some of you know about Indonesian satay, or meat on a grilled meat on a stick. So that's all what make it very delicious is coming from these condiments. I also want to say that something that related to me personally is, I think kecap manis is very simple thing, right? But then even in the simplicity, I consider myself also a simple person. So even though the kecap manis is very simple, it sounds, the ingredients very, again, like just made of soybean and then palm sugar and something other ingredients in there, but then it's, again, like it's very simple. So but it still make things flavorful, you know. It makes any kind of food very a lot of flavors. So what I'm saying is, I myself is somebody who's a simple person, but then I wish that I could in any interaction, like social interaction that I have, I can make the group or the atmosphere become more flavorful. That's what I'm trying to say. Another thing is, kecap manis is also remind me that it's part of me because I like to cook. So cooking is very relaxing for me. It things that activity that I usually do when I'm in a lot of stress, because cooking makes me more creative and just make my imaginations a lot more, I guess, useful in that way. So I can create a lot of things from my mind. So it's kind of like a free flow kind of thinking. And that's just for today. So I hope you know more about me from just me introducing this sweet soy sauce.
The one piece I choose to represent my current identities and subjectivities is this book, A Different Pond by Balfi. I chose this book because it tells a narrative of an Asian immigrant family, a refugee family. It is told from the perspective of a child, thinking about suffering, thinking about survival, and also pondering about beautiful moments with one's father. Let me read you a little bit of note from Balfi at the end of the book. I will skip a little bit. My family came to Minnesota from Vietnam as refugees from war in 1975. We lived in the Phillips neighborhood of South Minneapolis, and we didn't have much of anything. Both my parents worked multiple jobs to survive and support us in a country whose people did not understand why we were here at best and blamed us for the aftermath of the war at worst. My father would sometimes take us fishing with him before the sun came up, but for food, not for sport. I was much less appreciative of this experience than the little boy in this story, but now that I'm a father myself, I wanted to honor the struggle of my parents. I also want to acknowledge that they sometimes told me difficult stories from the war and where we came from, including about death and violence. My parents shared these with me, not to scare or harm me, but because these traumas were a part of our lives and they wanted me to understand. So I would encourage you to also include stories from Asian and Asian American authors in your daily personal and professional lives, as in my current roles, both professionally at the ARC and also in my parenting journey. I would love to share these stories also to understand the diversity of experiences of the Asian and Asian American communities with our campus communities, but also with my own family.
Thank you for joining us again for our challenge.
Bye.
Take care.